Wingardium Leviosa. Why won't it come up? Oh, hello there. Just practicing some of my spells. I'm Mad Jelly. I'm a little bit mad and I'm a little bit jelly. Welcome to Random Story Time number 10. Can you believe 10 days in a row I actually managed to do something? Super. Today I've got the wind quiet because I like it to be quiet when I read. So I switched it off with my magic wand. We have sunshine. Are you enjoying the sunshine in New Zealand? I specially put it on for you today. Clever, hey? Just be aware that at some point during this time of me reading, I may need to use my magic spray. I like to use my magic spray for the special little creatures that like to join me on my random story time. So if you hear a ch-ch, it does not mean turn the page. It means I'm spraying those little buggers so that I don't get bitten. Anywho, today we have got Bad Jelly the Witch by Spike Milligan, which is quite different to Blue Jelly. It is not Blue Jelly, it is Bad Jelly, and I'm Mad Jelly. Okay, this is a story about my very distant relative, Bad Jelly. Remember, not Blue Jelly. Can't eat it, but you could make some later and put different things inside it to make it really interesting. So, Bad Jelly is by Spike Milligan, and those people who are as old as I am, like 18, I know, I look a little aged for 18, but I'm doing well, will remember Bad Jelly being read on the radio a long, long time ago before there was TV on in the mornings on a weekend. So we got to lie in bed and listen to the radio. And at the rate we're going, you'll be the same. But Bad Jelly used to be read on the radio to all the girls and boys lying in their beds so that their mummies and daddies could have a rest. Now there's TV and online gaming and other random stuff. Unless you, before this COVID rubbish, unless you were one of those lucky mummies and daddies who had to get up at Sparrow's Fart and take your children out to sport. Aren't you enjoying your weekends now? Ooh, so lovely. No sports practice in the afternoon either. So this is a little bit longer and it doesn't have as many pictures, so your little people may get bored, but your big people might find it a little bit more interesting, or they won't, and they'll switch off, which is fine too. Bad Jelly the Witch. That's our title. This is our author, Spike Milligan. It's a fairy story. It's not very nice, but it is a fairy story. Here's the spine, and for something different, here's the back cover. I would like to put a big shout out to Heather for giving me this book, because I lost mine and she gave me one a long, long time ago when she went to England, and I still have it. If you want it back, you have to come and get it. These are some really cool drawings and are similar to what will be in the book. This is by Jane Milligan, Spike's daughter. She drew these pictures. It might be a good idea to go and have a look and search out who Spike Milligan is. Very funny. My kind of author. Bad Jelly the Witch, a fairy story. Just before I start, I need to adjust my hat so it doesn't go popping off in the middle, because it'll take my hair with it. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a little boy and girl. Their names were Tim and Rose. Tim was 6 years old. Are any of you 6 years old? And Rose was 5. Tim had black hair and blue eyes. Rose had red hair that hung down to her waist and green eyes like the sea. They lived with their mummy and daddy in a big log cabin made from wood trees. Funny that. I wouldn't like to know what other kind of logs you could make a cabin out of. and with a yellow straw roof, and little birds made nests for the eggs in it. How kind, they share their roof. Their daddy was a fisherman. He caught fish in a big lake near their house. Their mummy used to bake lovely fresh bread for them, and in the evenings by the fire she would play the trombone for them. Thought you might like that, Adrian. They had a fluffy cat named Fluffy Bum. What an original name. And a white puppy dog called Pom Pom, who was very clever and could play the piano with his tail. Every morning, Tim and Rose used to go to Lucy their cow to get some milk for their breakfast. But when they got to the shed, here's the doggy who played the piano with his tail, Pom Pom. Very clever, isn't it? Where Lucy lived, the door was open and Lucy was gone. Oh, can you all go, oh? You can make sound effects on the way through if you like. So the children ran to the field where Lucy used to eat the grass and shouted, Lucy, where are you? But there was no sound of Lucy anywhere. Look, Rose, said Tim, and he pointed to the ground where they could see Lucy's hoof marks in the mud. Let's follow them and see where she's gone, said Rose. They started to walk and follow the hoof marks. And here is Fluffy Bum the cat. That looks a lot like my pussycat. Only there's a bit missing from this picture. They walked and walked and walked. Are you getting tired? Said Tim. Only my legs, said Rose. After a long while, the children came to a big forest with very big trees, some as tall as a church, and some as thick as their teachers' legs at school. There was still no sign of Lucy their cow. It's getting very dark and night time, said Rose. We'd better go home or Mummy and Daddy will be worried about us. Tim said, no, we must find Lucy first. That's who they're looking for, Lucy the cow. Or she might get lost forever, and we would never have milk on our porridge again. Rose said, all right. So on they went into the great black forest, but it got so dark they couldn't see where to go. Are you frightened? Said Rose. Only a little bit, said Tim. I feel very sleepy, said Rose. So do I, said Tim. We'd better find somewhere to sleep. Just then a little voice said, you can come and sleep in my tree. The children looked around. There's Tim and Rose. See, you can do any kinds of illustrations. But they couldn't see anyone. Who said that? Tim said. I did, said the little voice. The children looked down, and there, standing in a little door at the bottom of a tree, was a teeny weeny man, as tiny as a matchstick. He was wearing a buttercup yellow jacket, black trousers with pink spots, red shiny shoes with gold buckles, and a white pointed hat with a sausage sewn on the front. With him was a green grasshopper, which the little man had on. A dog's lead, just sneaking over the page before I show you the picture. This is Binklebonk, the tree goblin. And down here it says, I'm not, I'm a flea. Who are you? Said the children. My name is Binklebonk, he said. I'm a tree goblin. I live in this tree, and this grasshopper is my guard dog. His name is Silly Sausage. Just then, Silly Sausage the grasshopper went, bow wow, woof woof. What a funny grasshopper, said Tim. He's barking like a doggy. Yes, said Binklebonk. That's why I call him Silly Sausage. Then they heard strange noises coming from the dark forest. Roar, roar, then squeak, What was that? Said the children. That, said Binklebonk, that was a tin lion. Why did he go squeak? Asked Tim. He's rusty from sleeping in the rain. You better come inside my tree before he comes, said Binklebonk. We're too big to get in that tiny door. Don't worry about that, said Binklebonk. I can make the tree grow bigger. You can't, said the children. Oh, yes, I can, he said. Watch me. He took his finger and I wonder what he's going to do with his finger. Pressed a button on his suit and sang this song. Tree, tree, 1, 2, 3, please grow very big for me. And like magic, the tree got bigger and bigger and bigger until the door was big enough to go in. Follow me, said Binklebonk, and they all ran inside and locked the door. They followed Binklebonk up a round and round staircase. All the way up there were fireflies and glowworms. To light their darkness, when they got to the top, there were 2 lovely little children's bedrooms. Sounds a bit dodgy to me, don't you? He's got children's bedrooms ready. But maybe he's just a nice goblin and has this happen often. A white one with red roses for Rose and a lemon one with brown teddy bears for Tim. Keep your windows shut tonight, said Binklebonk, because there are some trouser robbers in the woods and they might rob Tim's trousers. And in the morning, poor Tim would have to go without his trousers and just his bare bottom. And if he wasn't careful, a chicken might pick it and make him jump up in the air. Totally my kind of book. Before they went to bed, Binklebonk gave them a real goblin supper, some nuts, honey, and some dandelion tea. Before they went to sleep, the children asked Binklebonk if he had seen Lucy the cow go by his tree. Well, he said, I saw a black and white cow go by here this morning. Rose said, was she wearing a hat? Binklebonk laughed. Yes, she was, wearing a straw hat. Tim said, hooray, that's our Lucy. So the children went to sleep very happy because they knew their cow was still alive. During the night, there was a terrible thunderstorm with fork lightning, knife lightning, and spoon lightning. If you had spoon lightning, you could eat your blue jelly, couldn't you? What a funny storm, said Tim. Outside, the rain was pouring onto the trees. Lots of birds' nests got full of water, and the baby birdies were standing on the sides and diving in like a swimming pool. All the time, poor old Tin Lion was saying, oh dear, all this rain is making me rusty. Roar, roar, squeak, squeak. Next morning, the rain stopped. The sun came out and said, come on, time to get up. Everybody, I'm going to be very good today. I promise I will shine all day and I won't hide behind any clouds. Binklebonk came in and gave the children a cup of fresh rabbit's milk. Some honey and fairy cakes. They were very little. When they were dressed, the children said goodbye to Binklebonk and went off to find Lucy the cow. Be very careful in the forest, said a little robin from a tree, because there is a wicked witch in there. Her name is Bad Jelly. She catches little children and turns them into sausages and eats them. Sometimes she chops children up and makes boy-girl soup. On and on went the children until they came to a big river with water rushing over the rocks. The children didn't know how to get across. How would you get across? So they sat down to think how to do it. Oi! Mind where you're sitting, boy, said a voice from underneath Tim. It was a little worm. You big silly, you nearly squashed me flat like a shoelace. Tim said, I'm sorry, worm. What is your name? The worm came out of the ground and was wearing a long, thin shirt with drawings of red noses on it. My name is Mudwiggle, said the worm. Did you see a cow wearing a straw hat? Said Rose. Yes, said Mudwiggle. She trod on my tail, so I pushed her in the river. You must be very strong, said Tim. I am the strongest worm in all the world because I eat lots of mud. The worm told the children that Lucy had swum across the river and got out the other side. Can you help us get across? Said Rose. Yes, said Mudwiggle. I'll just put my swimming costume on. When he did that, he got in the river. First, I'll take Rose, get in the river and hold my tail. Which end is your tail? Asked Rose. Oh dear, said Mudwiggle. I'll wear my hat so you will know which end is which. And there's Mudwiggle with his stripy costume on and his hat so you know which end is his head. But one would imagine that if he had arms, you'd be able to tell. And he put on a big red top hat with a piece of cheese on top. That's in case I meet any hungry mice, said Mudwiggle. Rose got hold of his tail and the funny worm swam across and then went back for Tim. But when they were halfway across, a big shark. Can you do that? A big shark saw Tim's legs swimming, so he thought, I'll eat him up. Look out, said Rose. Shark! The shark was just going to bite Tim when wallop, bonk, thud. Mudwiggle hit the horrible shark on his nose. Oh, my nose, said the shark, and swam away to the shark's nose hospital. Tim got out the river next to Rose. Goodbye, children, said Mudwiggle, and swam away. The sun was shining very hot, and soon the children's clothes were nice and dry. They saw an apple tree, so they plucked 2 big juicy red ones. Oh, my apples, said the tree. I've never heard an apple tree talk before, said Rose. I'm afraid I'm not an apple tree. I am really a policeman. But I was turned into an apple tree by the witch called Bad Jelly. Oh, boo-hoo! I want to go back to my police station and my whistle. The children said they couldn't help him because they couldn't do magic. But if we see another policeman, we'll tell him where you are and to bring your whistle. The children went on walking until they came to a big, big mountain, but it had a big white beard on it. What a silly mountain! Why has it got a beard? Said Rose. A little mouse popped his head out of a hole and said, He's got a beard because he's lost his razor. We've never heard of a mountain with a white beard, said Tim. It's very old, that's why, said the mouse, and I'm not really a mouse. I've been turned into one by Bad Jelly the witch. Poor little furry mouse, thought Rose. And who is it called? Dingle Mouse. What is your name? Said Tim. My name, said the mouse, is Dingle Mouse. What were you before the witch turned you into a mouse? Said Rose. I was a banana, said Dingle the mouse. So be careful. If you see her, run away. The children said they would hide if they saw her. We must go and look for Lucy the cow, said the children. Can I come with you? Said Dingle Mouse, and be your friend? I have a good singing voice. Listen. And he sang, Fiddle-diddle-dee, I'm a little flea. I ran up Daddy's trouser legs and bit him on the knee. The children liked his singing and said, All right, you can come with us and look for Lucy. Tim picked up Dinglemouse and put him in his trouser pocket. Hope he's got no holes in his pockets, or that little mousie's going to go running down his legs. And it's very dark in here, said Dinglemouse. Where is the light switch? There's no light switches in boys' pockets, are there? Rose and Tim laughed. Silly mouse, you don't have a light in little boys' trouser pockets. So now they all set off to find Lucy. They were climbing up and up a big mountain, and it was getting very cold, and it started to snow. I'm freezing, said Tim. I'm shivering too, said, sorry, that was Rose, and now it's Tim. I'm nice and warm in your pocket, said Dinglemouse. Just then a voice behind them said, Hello, children. Can I help you? Tim turned around and saw it was an old woman dressed in black. Don't be frightened, she said. I can make you nice and warm in a few seconds. Just get inside this nice sack and you will be nice and warm. Do you think they should get in this person's sack? Does it sound like a safe thing to do, hopping into somebody's sack? The children said, Oh, thanks, old woman. We were nearly freezing to death. As soon as the children got into the sack, the old woman screamed, Got you! She tied the sack up tight. I'm going to eat you all up because I am Bad Jelly, the baddest witch in all the world. Don't know how bad she looks, and just at the moment, remember, she's not Blue Jelly, she's Bad Jelly, and I'm Mad Jelly. Related, but quite different. My hair is much better because Truly Scrumptious did my hair. And I wear glasses, same pointy hat, but we're a little bit different. And besides, I'm in Gryffindor and I play Quidditch. She put the sack on her back, jumped on her broomstick and flew up, up, up into the sky. Someone, please help us, shouted Tim. But no one could hear him because they were very high in the sky. The witch took the children to her castle on top of a mountain. It was made of iron, and only the witch had the key to get in. It's a very big key. It's like a key to my heart. At the gate was a huge, horrible monster. His body was red and sticky. Ugh. It had giant eyes as big as windows. Maybe you could draw a picture of what this looks like. Red and sticky. Giant eyes as big as windows. Had sharp yellow teeth like needles. And its tongue was made of fire. And all its spit turned to steam. It went. When Bad Jelly ate children, she used to put them on the monster's fire tongue to cook them. The witch opened the door inside. Sorry, I need to check my punctuation. The witch opened the door. Inside was her servant, a giant called Delboot. He was as big as a house. He had purple hair and 10 eyes all around his head, so he could look behind him without turning around. No more pictures, just lots of writing. Bad Jelly told the giant to take the sack with the children in. Put them in a dark room right at the top of the prison tower and don't let them out of the sack. In a deep breath, the giant said, All right. He carried the sack up thousands of steps. He opened a door and he threw the sack with the children in on the cold stone floor and locked the door. Poor Tim and Rose were crying. Then out of Tim's pocket popped Dinglemouse. Don't cry, he said. I've got sharp teeth. And he started to nibble and nibble, and he made a hole big enough for them to get out of the sack. Poor Rose was crying. We'll never see our mummy or daddy again. Tomorrow the witch will eat us all up with peanut butter. I think I'd try something different. Probably the blue jelly. Be much nicer than peanut butter. Little people's bones and stuff get stuck with the peanut butter in the roof of your mouth. Not that I've tried eating little children. Well, because I can't eat a whole one. The sun was going down and the room was getting very dark. Dingle Mouse suddenly said, I've got an idea. I know a big, strong eagle called Jim. He's my friend. I'll go and try to get him. Dingle Mouse jumped on the window ledge and climbed the ivy on the outside of the tower down to the ground. Please hurry, the witch is going to kill us in the morning, said the children. So Dingle Mouse ran as fast as he could. He ran so fast his tail caught on fire, and he had to sit in a bucket of water to put it out. Back at the children's home, their mummy was crying, Oh, my poor children, where are they? Their daddy said, I've looked everywhere. I think some animal in the forest must have eaten them. And there's Dingle Mouse. I can't see his tail on fire, though, but he must be running fast if he's upright. Maybe he's stopping for a moment. Poor mummy. I'll never be able to play the trombone to them again, she said. By now, Dingle Mouse had reached the tree where Jim the giant eagle lived. Jim was fast asleep when he heard Dingle Mouse calling, Help! Wake up, Jim! Jim was a beautiful eagle with brown feathers on his body, white feathers on his head, and a big yellow beak and blue eyes, and he was nearly as strong as God. Hurry, the witch is going to eat the children when the sun comes up. So Jim the eagle quickly took off his pajamas. His pajamas? I wonder what kind of pajamas an eagle wears. Dingle Mouse jumped on Jim's back, and away they flew. So here's Dingle Mouse down the bottom, and it goes up to what Dingle Mouse is saying. Hello, Jim. This is a talk bubble from Dingle Mouse. Can you help save Tim and Rose from the terrible witch Bad Jelly? You can see Jim the eagle. And Dingle Mouse is all the way down here. Must have had to send a speech bubble up like a balloon. Faster, faster, Jim. The sun will soon be coming up, shouted Dingle Mouse. Back in their prison room, the children were looking out the window. Can you see the eagle coming, Tim? Said Rose. No, said Tim. Look, said Rose, the sun is starting to come up. And listen, I can hear the witch coming up the stairs. I'm coming to get you, screamed the witch. They could hear her through the keyhole, and she had a big sharp knife. Not a knife, a wand. See, we are different. I have a wand, and I do things like Wingardium Leviosa. Not Leviosa, Leviosa. I don't have a knife. I'm a nice one. I'm Mad Jelly, not Bad Jelly. Rose said, Look out the window. Jim the giant eagle and Dingle Mouse coming to save Tim and Rose. Hurry, Jim, hurry. You can see the children all the way up in the top of the tower. I can see Jim the eagle coming. The witch was starting to open the door. Now Jim the eagle flew up to the window. Quick, children, get on my back. But the witch was opening the door. The children were getting on Jim's back. Stop them, screamed the witch. But the children were on the mighty eagle's back, and away they flew from the terrible witch. She was so angry she screamed, Stinky poo to all of you! Then she jumped on her fastest broomstick and started to chase after the children, and she took a magic powder to throw on the children, and turn them into big black sausages. Ooh, sounds like black pudding. Yum. That is an acquired taste. I like haggis, which I also like. Jim the Eagle flew up and hid inside a cloud. The witch flew round and round the cloud, waiting for Jim and the children to come out. Just then, God came along. And when he saw what the wicked witch wanted to do to Tim and Rose, he told the witch to go away. "No, I won't," said the witch, and tried to scratch God's eyes out. What a naughty witch. I bet she's going to get a smack now. Although that wouldn't be appropriate in this day and age, would it? So God pointed his finger at the witch, and brum, bang, splitty, the witch burst like a bomb and disappeared in smoke, and her broomstick turned into a sky snake that flew to the moon. When Jim the Eagle saw that Bad Jelly was dead, he flew the children back to the witch's castle to look for Lucy. "There she is," said Rose, and there chained to the wall was poor Lucy. Quickly, Jim flew down next to her. She was so pleased to see the children. She went, "Moo hoo hoo hoo, moo hoo hoo hoo," and cried. Jim the Eagle broke her chain with his beak, but then the back door of the castle opened and out came Dullboot the giant. "Get away from that cow. It belongs to me. She's my dinner," he said, and he drew out his sword and he tried to chop the children's heads off. But Jim grabbed the giant by the hair, while Dinglemouse jumped on the giant, nibbled his belt, and down came the giant's trousers. "Oh, help," said the giant. "I'm showing my bottom." And he ran away and never came back. I wonder if he ran off to Bare Bottom Land. "Now we're all safe," said Tim. "Yes, thanks to Dinglemouse and Jim," and she gave them both a kiss. Then Jim got the children and Dinglemouse on his back. Then he flew up, grabbed Lucy's horns in his strong claws and flew them back to their home. When their mummy and daddy saw them fly on the back of a giant eagle with Lucy hanging underneath, they ran inside and hid. "Don't be frightened, mummy and daddy. Jim is a kind eagle and saved our lives." Up popped Dinglemouse. "So did I. I helped save them too," he said. So mummy and daddy came out with a big bag of jelly babies and gave them to Jim and Dinglemouse. Then they all played Ring of Roses, and then they blindfolded Lucy and played blind man's buff and lived happily ever after until the next time. The end. And there's Tim and Rose. Happy. Don't you love a happy ending? And we've got Jim the Eagle, and Bad Jelly the Witch on her broomstick, and the clouds up in the top. What kind of story could you make up and tell to everybody in your house? Nobody's stopping you making up a story. Make up your own. Or you could pretend to be Bad Jelly, Tim and Rose. We could even make little puppets and tell the story for one of your books. So you could make out little puppets and tell the story with your puppets. That would be something different to do. And remember, we all need to be nice and kind like Jim and Dinglemouse. And just think, if it wasn't for Mudwiggle and Binklebonk, those children might not have made it to get their cow. So with those little creatures on the way, they got kindness and they got fed. They got looked after. Let all of us do that for others, and let others do that for us. Maybe we can create a better world. So even in scary stories like Bad Jelly the Witch, which remember is not blue jelly or mad jelly, we can always be kind, and we can always learn some really good pointers about how to care for each other. So on that note, remember to be kind, remember to take care of each other, and remember to do something for yourself as well, whatever that is, one thing. Bless you all, and with the wave of my magic wand, I'm going to disappear.